for this class, the GRA140, we're going to talk a little bit more about let me see, I'm going to share my screen with you and going to look at, let me see what I can find. I'm going to go into the user interface and let me see if I can make this a bit bigger. Can you still see all of that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I see Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Okay, terrific. All right, so what we're going to talk about a little bit more is some of the best practices for user interface design. So we have that UI, the user interface, but we also have the UX that we talked about last class, which is the user experience and understanding those. So back in the days when we had good old big, huge cell phones like this, I'm afraid to say that I did have one of those. So we're going to talk about thinking about how something works. You all use apps today. Your phone's filled with them. I'm finding apps that I didn't even know I had on my phone now that I'm home, self-distancing and quarantining. So if we look at it, we need to think about the size of buttons, where the buttons are located, how something is actuated. If we're going to use it, not use it, can we get it out of the way? Can we scroll? Can we magnify? So part of understanding what you can do is what functionality. And as we look, we have menus, we have lists that you can make, we have different buttons or items that you can pick. When you come over here to this last image, you can see I can get a menu by clicking here and it gives me a pop-up menu. As long as this is standard throughout the app or maybe on the device, it makes a lot of sense. However, if it's only once or twice that you're using this type of technique, it doesn't make a lot of sense because you're forcing the person who may have 100 apps on their mobile device to learn what your specific app does that's different than the other 99. So as we look, this one's for Melissa. It helps track where you are, and you can do the UR code, QR, and get to a map that would show you where you are. Here's one that we can see where we are located, and maybe the Uber driver is zoned in on you and your location, and it's giving them a instant readout using their GPS or your GPS and some updates. Something like Shazam actually uses the speaker in the phone to listen and record pieces and parts of a song so that it can try to identify from a massive database that it keeps track of. So when we look at information architecture, what we're trying to do is understand the flow chart. So this is your traditional where you start with a home screen and then you can go to 3 different buttons. Once you're at one of those screens, you can go to a couple more buttons, or you can start on the first page and you can get to each one of these. So we need to think about how this goes, and if we have to go into the final page and then back out of the page, or if there's a way to zoom all the way back to the beginning. Let's look at some standards. Say this one looks like an iPhone, but you'll notice this part of the screen, you're not really going to commandeer it because the iPhone itself wants to keep the information at the top about the charge and the time and the wireless and all of that. Then we have the hamburger menu, what they call these 3 lines up here. This, as soon as you see this, you know there's more information underneath it. There's a drop-down menu that you can get to. without leaving this page, you may be able to pull up a menu and then just close it and you're right back down here. In some cases, you may want that down bottom. Why? Why might you want the hamburger down here instead of up there? Yeah, it's that single person with the thumb trying to operate their phone, and even this could be tough to get to with that thumb down there. That's in one of the locations that's tough to get to. But we want to think about the things that they use most often or how they're going to use it. And so putting the search up here, but doing the drop down and having another menu bar might make sense to have it across the bottom. Here are the hamburger menus here versus down here. Where's your toolbar? We can slide things over, slide things back. Does this look familiar to anyone? This is the WordPress, some of the WordPress, the way that it's managed. So think about where and a 4S, 5S, 6 Plus, we're starting to look at how long, if you have really long fingers, if you're a piano player, you probably have really strong hands and strong fingers and you can get to the ow area. But these areas in here are stretch. And then this one's more natural to get to. Okay. Let's look at some bad examples. Oh, I just threw these in here because I thought they were funny. Think about icons. So this one looks like LOL, but it's really, hey, there's a person in the waves drowning. Or warming your hand icon, kind of looks like the bacon, give me bacon. I put these
No,
up.
it looks like someone's washing their hands and it's like really hot water.
Okay. As we look at this, what I'm hope you're taking away from this is how busy these are. And so, yes, you can have an app that is just one screen. You can cram all the data into it. However, is that going to be the best solution for the user to have to try to figure out, do I want to shoot the picture? Do I want to X out of the picture? Do I want to enlarge? Do I want to shrink? This is just a little too busy. There needs to be a better way of doing some of this. Here we're trying to show lots of information, but this information, some of the colors and the content is a little tough. And then unread red. I don't know which is selected right now. And so part of what you're doing here is you're giving them choices that may need to have other choices as part of what they're doing. So we need to roll things out when they need it and how they need it. So we have to anticipate what that user of this app is thinking. Here are some more that, yeah, they have lots of neat graphics. Oh, throw the switch to the off position. This one's on because it's got a green light. It looks like however, if you're blind, can you use this app? You'd have to have some type of sound that would also go along with this. And we try to move things to icons, but even then, certain icons work well. I know that this is shopping, this is meals, this is parking, travel or airports, medical, gas. But then I get around to some of these and I'm not sure. I know Wikipedia, but you notice they had to put the text in there. And so we're trying to find even icons, but if you have to put the text on there, it means that your icon probably isn't doing what it should do. How about some good examples? This one, as we look through this, first screen, second screen. So you're going to start a game, new game, just 3 options. Then what do we want to do? Which level are we at? And so it will show you as you move up. medium, easy, hard. And then we've got the game with the icons below. If you don't know what those icons are, probably by the end of the game you will. And if you go in and use this game again, you'll remember what those were. This one, it's a video game, but you'll notice where they've rotated the mobile device, and they're trying to put anything that you would need to use where you would use it, and you could still keep your fingers where they need to do to hold the device. So you should be able to get to the things that you need most often. And I wonder if this has a left-handed versus a right-handed mode, because that would be something else on this one. If you're better dexterity with your left hand than your right, maybe these buttons should switch over to that side. So it's one of the settings in the master settings. Okay, under the Q&A, I just put this graphic up there just because there are times when with mobile devices, we can all get a little carried away and lose track of what's important. So hopefully you're not one of these type of people. These were just some visuals. As you go along in your day-to-day life, if you ever say, I wish this did this, or wow, that's just not logical, that's not the way I think, that means that someone that was working on the UI or UX didn't really do diligence, what they were supposed to do. And by the way, I got most of this from this Vince guy. And so I like his sweater. And so I'm going to stop sharing this now if I can. Yeah. Okay. And so